Okay, so we started with the basic multiplication. I wanted to do a separate video so you guys would have access to a little bit more complicated multiplication. So you can multiply complex numbers in the same way you multiply real numbers or binomials. You can use the FOIL or you can use the box method. Since I'm not sure how you learned how do you learn to multiply binomials, I'm going to actually go through both methods really quickly. So FOIL, so you start with your first terms. So my first terms are going to be the 2x and the x, and you'd multiply. So my first is going to be, so my FOIL, my first is going to be 2x times x. And then you're going to do the O for FOIL would be the outside terms. So my outside terms would be the 2x and the 4. Those are my outside terms. So that's going to be 2x times 4. Then we go to our I, inside terms. Our inside terms are going to be the -3 and the x. And of course, last but not least, funny, is these are my last terms. So that's going to be -3 times 4. So first, outside, inside, last. And so you just multiply that out. I'm just taking it slow. 2x times x is x squared, so this would be 2x squared plus my 2 times 4, that's going to be 8x, plus -3x plus -12. Again, this isn't with imaginaries yet. We're not doing with complex numbers. I'm just trying to refresh your memory on how you did it in Algebra 1. So you'd combine your like terms. So this would be 2x squared plus 5x minus 12, because that's with combining my like terms plus -12. The other method is the box method. So if you learned to multiply, you may have learned with the box method. So you make a box that is 2 by 2. Okay, and some of you might like this better. So on one side of the box, I'm going to have a 2x and a -3. On the other side of the box, I'm going to have an x and a 4. And all you do is you multiply those boxes or the parts of the boxes together. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So for this one right here, this box would be 2x times x. So that's going to be 2x squared. And this box right here would be 4 times 2x, which would be 8x. This box here would be -3 times x, which is -3x. And this last box here is going to be -3 times 4, which is -12. So your answer is just going to be the sum of the boxes. You always start here, then do your diagonals, and then go here. So this is going to be 2x squared plus 8x minus 3x minus 12. All I'm doing is putting what's in the box and I'm adding it all together, or I'm just putting it as one line. I know I can combine my 8x and my 3x, so my answer is 2x squared plus 5x minus 12. All right, so we're going to do this same thing with imaginary numbers. Now, normally, if we were in class, I would be able to kind of figure out where you guys are and which way you're comfortable with. I'm going to use the box method. I'm just guessing that most of you use the box method, so I'm going to be using that in order to multiply the complex numbers. So you're going to multiply the expressions, treating I as a variable. Ooh. Oh, good Lord. As a variable. Then you're going to replace any I squared with -1, and you're going to simplify. So, like I said, I'm going to use the box method to multiply this out. So I make a box. 1 is going to do 7 plus 1i, and this is going to be 4 minus 1i. Okay, and I'm putting 1s here and here. And so I multiply that across. This is going to be 4 times 7, so this box has 28 in it. This one is going to be 7 times negative 1i, which is going to be negative 7i. This box right here is going to be 4 times 1i, which is going to be 4i. And this last box right here is 1i times negative 1i, which is negative 1, and I have 2 i's, I squared. So I write it out. It's going to be 28 plus 4i minus 7i minus 1i squared. Right here, the only difference is between this and what you did in algebra is you're going to, sorry, I know that that's distracting. It's distracting to me too. You're going to replace any I squareds with negative 1. So this is going to be 28 plus 4i minus 7i minus 1 times negative 1, because I replaced my I squared with negative 1. Take out the sparkles. So it's going to be 28 plus 4i minus 7i plus 1. And you just combine your like terms. 28 plus 1 is 29. 4i minus 7i is negative 3i. And there's your final answer. I'm not sure why there's a u here. I'll make sure that I fix that. It's an odd thing. Not sure what happened there. There should not be a u there. So we'll do the same thing. So I make a box. 4 and 3i is here. Negative 2 minus 1i is here. So this is going to be negative 2 times 4. That's going to be negative 8. This is going to be negative 1i times 4. And you don't have to write all of this, the work at the top. That's going to be negative 4i. This is negative 2 times 3i, which is negative 6i. And this is 3i times negative 1i. That's going to be negative 3i squared. So I write it out again. Negative 8 minus 4i minus, I wrote plus, that should be minus, sorry about that, minus 6i minus 3i squared. I take my I squared, I'm going to replace it with negative 1. So that's going to be negative 8 minus 4i minus 6i minus 3 times negative 1. Negative 8 minus 4i minus 6i plus 3. I combine my like terms. Negative 5, negative 10i. All right, just 2 more, okay, because these are kind of interesting ones. Do a box again. I have negative 10 and 4i, negative 10 minus 4i. So this is going to be negative 10 times negative 10, which is going to be 100. This is going to be negative 10 times negative 4i, negative 40i. This is going to be negative 10 times positive 4i. Actually, this should be positive 40i. Sorry about that. Negative 10 times negative 4 is positive. This should be negative 40i. And this is negative 4i times positive 4i, which is negative 16i squared. I write it out. I have my 100 plus 40i minus 40i minus 16i squared. I replace my I squared with negative 1. 100 plus 40i minus 40i minus 16 times negative 1. You guys can take shortcuts. I'm just doing all of this work in the notes. Plus 40i minus 40i, and I dropped my I here, plus 16. I combine my like terms. 100 plus 16 is 116. Positive 40 plus negative 40, well, that's going to be 0. So my final answer is just simply 116. Last one's a tricky one. We always put one like this on the test, okay? I'm just going to warn you. Okay, you don't distribute. This right here translates to 6 minus 2i times 6 minus 2i, and you have to treat it that way. You have to do a box for this. 6 minus 2i, 6 minus 2i. This is going to be 6 times 6, which is 36. This is going to be 6 times negative 2i, which is negative 12i. This is going to be 6 times negative 2i, which is negative 12i. This is going to be negative 2i times negative 2i, which is 4i squared. I write it out, 36. Now you can always combine these, okay? That's something to note. I'm actually going to combine those before. I know that this is negative 12 and negative 12. That's going to be negative 24i, just to show that you can do it beforehand. Okay, plus 4i squared. And you can do this beforehand too. This always becomes the opposite if you realize that, and that's fine. Minus 24i. This is going to be 4 times negative 1. 36 minus 24i. This ends up being negative 4. I combine my terms. That's 32 minus 24i. And that's it. The only tricky part about this one right here is to make sure you make a box, even if it's squared like that. You can't just distribute the exponent because that doesn't make sense. Good luck on the homework. Come to office hours if you need help.